She walked away from the sport at 16. No scandal, no injury, no dramatic collapse, just gone.
Fast forward a few years and Alysa Liu is back. She's armed with the deadliest weapon in women's skating, fresh gold around her neck, and a laser focus on the 2026 Olympics. That resume is terrifying on its own, but it doesn't explain why this comeback hits different. See, Alysa isn't just returning to the ice. She's returning on her own terms, and that changes the entire game. Here's the detail. Everyone forgets Alysa didn't walk away because she failed. She walked away after becoming the youngest national champion in US history. After she completely rewrote the definition of technical perfection for American women carrying a weight that would crush most adults. Statistically, athletes who bail that early, they almost never make it back to the elite level. Psychologically, it's a graveyard. Early fame is a trap. Peaking young means chasing a ghost of yourself that doesn't exist anymore. Most skaters break trying to catch that shadow, but not Alysa. She didn't call her exit a break. She called it a choice for herself. That choice rewired her entire career. When she stepped back onto the ice, the dynamic shifted. She wasn't skating to survive anymore. She was skating with total creative command. Her music, her choreography, her schedule. She was finally driving the car. That might sound small, but in the rigid world of elite figure skating, that is a straight-up revolution. And this is where the story takes a turn nobody saw coming. After years away, body changes and mental distance, Alysa didn't just dip her toe in. She attacked. She rebuilt the single most feared weapon in the sport, the triple axel. The jump that separates the greats from the legends. A maneuver that ends careers. It was a risk she didn't need to take unless she's chasing something bigger than just a comeback. And that is the real question. Why would someone who already proved everything and escaped the pressure cooker voluntarily jump back into the fire? Because this return isn't about proving she still belongs. It's about redefining what belonging looks like. Once you get that her story stops being about medals, it becomes about control timing and legacy. And that is where things get interesting. When Alysa Liu walked away, the headlines screamed shock. Prodigies don't just quit. Champions don't leave while they're winning. And teenagers definitely don't trash Olympic dreams that others would kill for. But the data tells a different story. Reaching the summit too early creates a brutal psychological void. By 16, Alysa had already lived the life most skaters only dream about. National titles, crushing pressure, global expectations. The dopamine rush of what's next was gone. It was replaced by routine surveillance and a future that felt like a pre-written script. That's what people miss. Burnout isn't an explosion. It's a silent creeper that shows up when your autonomy dies. In post-retirement interviews, Alysa didn't talk about fear or failure. She talked about losing her connection to the sport. She was skating because she had to, not because she wanted to. That distinction is everything. Psychologically, motivation splits into two lanes, external rewards and internal drive. When external rewards run the show for too long, performance collapses, even if it still looks like success from the outside. So Alysa got out. No farewell tour, no dramatic maybe, just distance. She went to school. She traveled. She skied. She existed without a stopwatch or a judge telling her what she was worth. And in that silence, something unexpected happened. The pressure faded. The curiosity came back. Skating stopped being a duty and started looking like an option again. That's when the comeback stopped being impossible. Because when Alysa returned, she didn't bow to the old system. She came back with leverage. She didn't just resume training. She radically restructured it. This time she held the reins. Her programs, her music, her schedule, her body, her time. That is rare in elite sports, especially for women. And that shift changed the entire psychology of the game. Instead of chasing validation, she created art. Instead of reacting to expectations, she set the standard. Her training slowed down, but her intent got sharper. That's why her return started quiet. No instant dominance, no viral hype moment, just a silent rebuild. Edges, timing, confidence, identity. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the numbers just started clicking. Clean sheets, ratcheted difficulty, and absolute ice in her veins under pressure. The girl we used to know was gone, replaced by a shark. She wasn't here to defend a spot on the roster. She stepped onto that ice on her own terms. And right there, the entire conversation shifted. If this comeback wasn't about chasing the glory days, what exactly was the end game? Because her next move wouldn't just stun the crowd. It was about to freeze the entire figure skating world in its tracks. When Alysa Liu hit the season opener, the vibe was different. Subtle, but undeniable. She didn't look like a charity case grateful for a second shot. She looked like a predator crouching for the kill. That distinction is everything. Usually return tours hit a ceiling. Athletes find a groove, settle down, get comfortable. But Alysa didn't plateau. She went vertical, and the loudest signal was one massive gamble, the return of the triple axel. From a stats perspective, this is where the plot gets dangerous in the best way possible. The triple axel isn't just a jump, it's a line in the sand. Forward takeoff, 3.5 rotations, 0 margin for screw-ups. In the women's division, it carries a monster base value and a catastrophic failure rate. Most skaters run from it unless they're desperate. Alysa didn't need it to survive. She picked it to rewrite the rulebook. That single choice instantly rewired how judges, rivals, and fans viewed her return. Because the second she started nailing it, not once, not just in highlight reels, but every single time the energy flipped. This wasn't a skater testing her limits. This was an athlete blowing the roof off the building. On paper, her scores started climbing strategically. Her leverage spiked. A clean triple axel isn't just points on the board. It forces the competition to scramble. Rivals start taking risks they aren't ready for. Routines get rushed, mistakes pile up. But Alysa stone cold. You could see it in her pacing. She wasn't fighting the ice, she owned it. Elements didn't look forced, they flowed like water. Her style had room to breathe, a flex of pure dominance, not caution. And that calm converted straight into results. First came the podiums, then the gold. No chaotic lucky breaks, just clinical execution. But here is the detail the headlines missed. Alysa wasn't peaking early. She was throttling her difficulty, raising her floor while protecting her consistency. That's not how a comeback kid acts. That's how a heavyweight champ operates. As the stakes got higher each meet, she ate the pressure for breakfast. While the rookies choked, she got looser. While they tried to run faster, she ran smarter. Her routines didn't scream panic. They whispered inevitability. That's why her wins felt different. It didn't feel like luck. It felt like a blueprint. And that's when the comeback narrative died. This wasn't about reclaiming old form. It was about timing the perfect strike for the main event. The 16-year-old version of Alysa Liu got crushed by the demands of the sport. The woman standing here today sees the matrix and uses it to her advantage. That changes the betting odds completely. Because if she's winning while she's still building, landing the sport's hardest jump without breaking a sweat, running on patience instead of adrenaline, then the question isn't if she's back. The real question is whether the rest of the field can survive what happens when she actually hits full throttle right when it matters most. Here is the ugly truth the competition has to swallow. Alysa Liu didn't just return. She showed up late on purpose. In the pros, timing is God. Peak too soon, and the pressure eats you alive. Show up too late, and the window slams shut before you can touch it. Most athletes don't get to pick their spot. They are slaves to federations, expectations, and momentum. They can't hit the brakes. Alysa did the one thing nobody else had the guts to do. She stepped off the treadmill, and because of that, she enters the Olympic cycle with a weapon her rivals can't manufacture. Freshness, physical, mental, and emotional. While everyone else is lugging around years of baggage, she's traveling light. While they defend a reputation, she's building a dynasty. While they are terrified of screwing up, she's already proven she can walk away and come back scarier than before. That changes the fight. You see it in her start pose. Calm, spine straight, no rush, no desperation. Because she doesn't skate like someone afraid to lose it all. She skates like someone who already holds the keys to the castle. And that is the most dangerous vibe in sports. Scoffs. The irony is actually wild. They labeled her a prodigy, a heavy crown that crushes more careers than it launches, but she evolved in the shadows. She isn't just a talent anymore. She is a grandmaster. Now every move on the ice is cold. Calculated, surgical. The calculated risk the discipline to hold back the refusal to rush the process. It is not rebellion. It is pure, unfiltered mastery. She changes the entire conversation just by showing up. No press conference needed. Her performance does all the talking. Because when you stick the hardest jump in the book without breaking a sweat, when winning looks like routine rather than a struggle, you move way past the typical comeback story. This is a masterclass in timing. And timing is the one weapon the competition cannot steal. As the road to 2026 gets tighter, the pressure cooker is whistling. The noise is becoming deafening. Zero margin for error. That is where most crumble. But Alysa Liu already survived the trap that destroys everyone else. That moment you realize you won too young. She didn't panic. She didn't cling to the past. She stepped out of the spotlight. Now she steps back in when the stakes are highest. Full circle. She is not here to prove she still belongs. She is here to rewrite the rules on her own terms. And if she peaks exactly when the whole world tunes in, forget the word comeback. We will remember this as the greatest tactical heist in figure skating history.